Hello, lovely people. New adventure unlocked. I'm headed to the next game. My mama's here. We're going to Aqua Zumba. I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am trying fencing today. I'm just there for the vibes. I know nothing about baseball. I'm there for the vibes. Hello, lovely people. Listen, Linda, listen. So I am speaking at a conference. I'm actually in Detroit, Michigan. What up, though? That's what they say in the D, and it's not Detroit, it's Detroit. And honestly, so I'm speaking tomorrow morning, and there's a gala going on downstairs. And I am so tired. And honestly, I don't want to be going to gala and drinking and dancing when I've got a presentation tomorrow. I need to stay focused. But I was like, you know what? I'm here. Let me watch the last episode of Chrisley's Back to Reality while I'm here and quickly, review it. And that's one thing off my checklist. Okay. So, y'all, this show... The last episode kind of irritated me a bit, but I shall do my best, okay? There's so many things that need to happen in season 2, but I'll go over it. We'll talk about it. All right. So they start off with Chloe. Beautiful Chloe's being interviewed, and they ask her, what's the best thing about your parents being home? And she's like, no, they said, how do you feel about your parents being home? And she's like, I have to clean. Typical preteen. And she's so, and you could just tell, like, hold on, let me grab this one. You could just tell the love that Julie has for, this wine is so stale. Still. I put too much ice in it. You can tell the love that Julie has for Chloe. Like, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. You can tell how she was holding Chloe, and she's like, Julie's trying to restore some order. Julie's like, we got to set some ground rules. But they also talk about what the hardest thing was for them in prison, and that was about Nick Cordelia's death. So, as you all know, Nick Cordelia was Savannah's ex-fiance. They were together for 11 months, and then they got engaged. And I actually saw that episode on Chrisley's Know Best, and I thought it was so cute. And you could see the whole family loved him. He was so happy. They showed scenes of him dancing with Nanny Faye. Chase was like, he was such a good dude. It just seemed like they really, really loved Nick and took him in as family. Nick was with them throughout the trial, will drive them to and from the trial every day. Todd talks about how Nick was like, you got this, Pop. But here's the thing. I tried to look up online. I tried to find information about Nick's family. I didn't find anything. Like, did y'all? I didn't see anything about his family. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know. I went on Wikipedia. It says his mom is French or he's Canadian or whatever, but I couldn't find anything. Because I want to know, like, grief is very complex. I would want to know, how do they feel about the Chrisleys talking about Nick? But anyway, poor kid died from a motorcycle accident. It sounds like there was some alcohol involved. From what I read. Anyway, so you have Nanny and Jodie having a girls' brunch, which I love to see that because I feel like Nanny Faye, now maybe it's her sense of humor. I felt like Nanny Faye has been real tough on Jodie. So, first of all, can we say, listen, Jodie, her fashion game is... the YSL shades that she had, yes, they were YSL shades because I looked it up. Bomb. Looked so cute. Anyway, so Nanny Faye's asking Jodie, like, hey, like, what's going on with you and Chase? Are you guys just going to shack up? And she's like, no, as a matter of fact, he tried to propose to me in the bedroom and I was not going for it. Now listen, some people may look at Jodie and be like, you should be happy that he's proposing to you, like you're being a little bit bougie. But I kind of feel Jodie, it's like, I mean, come on, what type of girl do you think I am? Like, I mean, maybe she's not asking for this big extravaganza, but you're just gonna propose to me like in the bedroom? Like, are you crazy? Chase, you could have came a little bit better than that. Can somebody tell me if they're engaged? Because again, I have looked on Instagram. I have not seen where he proposed to her. I don't know if he did a redo. I know they're still together, but I can't tell whether they're engaged or not. But anyway, so Chase calls. Oh, so Jodie said, look, let me just tell you this. I didn't say I don't want to marry him. I just said he have to come correct. And I agree with Jodie. I agree with Jodie. So Chase calls, and of course, again, I love Chase and Nanny Faye's banter. Chase is like, oh, you must not be cursing because you are filming. And Nanny Faye's like, no, that's not it. And Chase proceeds to say some stuff that I'm not going to repeat, but you could tell Nanny Faye is like so embarrassed. Like, go back and watch Nanny Faye's face. She's just like, I cannot believe this mofo just said what he just said. But Chase was like, oh, is she being nice? And then Jodie, Jodie, she's got to play her part. Oh, she's always nice. No, that's not true, Jodie, because the last few episodes, Nanny Faye really gave it to you. But anyway, I think that Jodie is starting to get Nanny Faye's sense of humor and not be bothered by it. So we're talking to Todd and Julie. And I'm not going to lie, this scene kind of ticked me off because, Todd is like, hey, I want my I want my son to be with somebody that's going to give him a good life and somebody that I like. And can you imagine if I don't like somebody, I'm going to be like, oh, you sit over there, right? And he said, I can meet somebody within 10 minutes and know if I like them or not, right? Now, here's where I'm giving Todd the side eye. So they asked Todd, well, what about Jodie? And Todd's like, well, I only spent like 5 minutes with her. And that was the night that they got released. So he was like, I don't know, Jodie. They don't like that girl. They don't like that girl. If Todd liked Julie, Todd would be like, you know what? She's a very nice girl. I didn't get to spend time with her, but I'm looking forward to spending time with her. Todd was like, I don't know, Jodie. I only spent 5 minutes with her. They don't like that girl. I still don't understand why they don't like this girl. I don't get it. I don't get it. Somebody needs to tell me why. I don't get it. But anyway, they talk about how Savannah has not grieved Nick, and Nick was like her true love. I also can tell that they did not like Robert, which is cool because I was not feeling Robert for Savannah either. So Todd is basically like, I feel like Nick was her true love, and I think that Savannah thought that her and Nick was going to find their way back to each other. Why did they break up? I didn't see them line, but I don't know why they broke up. But it sounds like they got married in 2019 and in 2020 they broke up. I think that's what it said. So that's a very short period that's very short. I don't know. But you could tell that Savannah is still probably grieving. Now he died in 2023. So remember when he died, all that stuff was happening with her family. Her parents were in jail. So she probably did not have time to grieve or even focus on Nick because she was trying to get her parents out. I'm telling y'all, I keep telling y'all, now that Todd and Julie are out, watch Savannah unravel. I don't want it for her. I don't want Savannah to unravel, but watch her unravel because all that trauma is going to come back. But she's in therapy, so she may be okay. But typically, you see that in grief, right? When you're dealing with the trauma, when you're not dealing with the trauma because you're dealing with logistics of things, you don't have time to focus on the grief. It's not until months or even like a year later where all this stuff comes crashing down and you're like, whoa, what happened? I thought I was good. Anyway, so Jodie talks about how she feels like, because they have issues with Chase, they have issues with her. It's like she's collateral damage. And I agree with Jodie. Because nobody has pinpointed, other than her not having a job, which again, if her parents are taking care of her, what was it to you? Other than not having a job, I have not heard what the issue with Jodie that they have. I don't know. So the producers are trying to talk to Todd and Julie talk to the family about Kyle and Lindsay. Nobody wants to talk about them. Julie was like, I don't want to get into it. Chase was like, don't even ask me about that. It's only Savannah who's like, look, Kyle stole my childhood. Kyle wanted attention. Whatever it was, Kyle wanted attention. And she stole my childhood. And this is what I'm going to say to Savannah. Savannah, I know that you feel like Kyle stole your childhood. But let me say this. Kyle had issues. Kyle had addiction issues. So, unfortunately, sometimes that happens. The child that is the most mess is the one that gets the attention. Is it fair to Savannah and all the other children? No. But this is why I really wish that Savannah would educate herself about addiction. Because she speaks like somebody that does not know about addiction. Well, Chase, you just need to get yourself together. Savannah, it's not easy. The man has an addiction. It's a disease. It's an illness, right? When she gets that concept, she'll speak a little bit different. And I'm saying that because I'm going to talk about the conversation that Chase and Savannah had, which further proves my point. All right. So they go back to how this whole thing started, where Julie got a phone call that they owe millions of dollars in state income tax in Georgia. Todd is like, we don't live in Georgia. We live in Florida. And so they had to prove that they had been in Florida 6 months out of the year or whatever it was, right? So Todd basically finds out that this all has originated from Mark Brannick, Kyle, and Lindsay. And Lindsay basically made a police report saying, hey, Chase got a sex tape of me and is threatening to expose it. Chase is like, that is a lie. First of all, I don't want no sex tape of you. And first of all, that is a lie. And Todd said nobody ever met with her to talk about a sex tape. And come to find out, that was a lie. Now, let me say this. Some people were in my comments talking about how Lindsay should have done what she'd done because Todd had a sex tape of her and threatened to expose it. How do you all feel now knowing that that was a lie? I think that Lindsay started something she couldn't finish, got in over her head, and realized, oh, this has real... And realized, oh, shoot, this has real consequences. This has real repercussions, right? So closer to the trial, Lindsay decides to go and do a deposition basically saying that she lied. And the receipt was receipting because Todd read the transcripts where Lindsay basically admitted that this was all false. And y'all were in my comments talking about Lindsay deserved to do what she did because there was a sex tape out of her that her family threatened to expose, and you all were wrong. Okay? Wrong. Now, they asked Nanny Faye how she feels about all of this. Now, one thing I like about Nanny Faye, she's going to be neutral. Because Nanny Faye said, those are my grandbabies, meaning Kyle and Lindsay. I love them. I speak to them. They ask me if I need anything. I tell them that I'm good. I tell them that I love them. And they tell me that they love me. Nanny Faye can be neutral. She's the grandmother, which is fine, you know. Now, here's the thing. Kyle visited Todd in prison and wanted to make amends. Todd talked to Kyle, but Todd was like, I can't. The pain is too deep and the betrayal is too deep for Todd to forgive him. We never heard anything about it in the press. Nothing. But then the minute Lindsay visited Kyle, and I will say this, if y'all don't know about prison world, I'm not saying I know about prison world, but you know, I have visited somebody in prison a time or two or three or four. Don't judge me. I was young. You cannot visit somebody in prison unless you are on their visitors list. That has to be an approval process. So I will say this: I do commend Todd for, even though he was betrayed by his children, he still put them on the visitors list, because that's the only way Kyle and Lindsay was able to visit him. You cannot visit somebody in prison without them being on the visitor list. So I say, you know what, Todd probably was like, that's still my children. I will give them the opportunity if need be. So kudos to Todd for that. So Lindsay goes and visit Todd, and then the next day it was in the press. And he said, friend or foe, daughter or enemy. What do you guys think? I think Lindsay needs to stay where she's at and lose that last name. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I do feel that Kyle needs some forgiveness. To me, the fact that he came to visit Todd to make amends and there was not a peep in the press, that's genuine. So if I was to talk to Todd, I would say, well, please forgive him. You don't have to have him in your life, but at least forgive him and see if you can rebuild. Again, as long as you're alive, it's never too late to rebuild, if both parties want it, of course. Lindsay, on the other hand, she doesn't seem remorseful, so I just let her be. Now, now they show that it's been 3 weeks since they've been released, and they're about to do an interview with Laura Trump. Now, this is what I'm going to say that I don't agree with Todd. And Todd, I'm about to let you have it. Okay? First of all, how are y'all going to do a family interview without Chase? And Chase had every right to feel how he feels. And I feel like they try to gaslight Chase, because they said to Chase, oh, we don't want them talking about your DUI or your arrest or whatever, right? Chase had a good point, but that's what you're going there to talk about. Nobody's perfect. So Todd says to Chase, oh, we didn't find out until 2 days before the interview that Grayson was going to be a part of it. That's 48 hours. You could have still called Chase and been like, hey, even if you didn't want Chase to be a part of it, you could have called Chase and said, you know what, we're doing a family interview. We want to protect you. We think for right now you're not doing the best, so let's just sit that one out. As opposed to him finding out from a TikToker. That was not cool. At all. At all. That was not cool. Chase has every right to feel away. And Todd, I think you're kind of messed up, because when the producer said to you, oh, well, Chase says he found out through a TikToker and he feels alienated, Todd immediately got defensive and was like, oh, we're not going to do that. Where it's going to be like Chase feels alienated like Kyle and Lindsay. But Chase does feel alienated. That came out of his own mouth. It's not no narrative. This is how Chase feels. So, and then I do think that Todd was being petty by sending the picture to Chase and saying, oh, don't your mom look beautiful? It's like 5 people in that picture. If you wanted to say, oh, don't mom look beautiful, you should have taken a picture of Julie and sent it to Chase and said, oh, mom looks beautiful, right? But you sent a picture of the whole family and said, oh, mom looks beautiful. Yeah, he was being petty. He was being petty. Oh, let me back up. Julie, you need to get in therapy ASAP. You need to work on that anxiety, because right before the interview, you could see that Julie was feeling apprehensive. Now, Todd, I will give you this. You know your wife, because Todd said, what are you apprehensive about? She's like, I'm good. I need Julie to go sit in the therapist chair ASAP and talk about her trauma, her possible resentment to her husband. Because even, let's say you guys didn't do anything. At the end of the day, sometimes wives get caught up in stuff that at doing a husband, because we know Julie was a collateral damage. Okay? Julie needs to unpack all of that in therapy. Julie, stop with the I'm good. No, you're not, boo. And that's okay. That's okay that you're not good. You just went through a traumatic situation. Now, she does say that. But the I'm good. And maybe Todd let it go, because Todd's like, you know what, we're on camera. I'll talk to her about it later. But Todd definitely knows that something's going on with Julie. But yeah, honestly, so Chase and Jodie will go out to eat. And Chase said, I feel away. It got so bad that Chase was like, we need to wrap this up. I'm getting pissed off. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it. You know? And I completely agree with Chase 100%. They try to gaslight him. Todd and Julie, y'all have gone to prison. That's what you guys are going to talk about. Okay, Chase had his little dealings, with the legal stuff. No matter what, y'all are family. At some point, it could be 5 years from now. Somebody's going to bring that up to Chase. So rip the band-aid off, talk about it, and move on. I think that was messed up how they did it. I felt like they thought that it would not be a good look. I know that the Chrisleys are very image focused. Look at Savannah. Savannah is beautiful. Todd looks great. Julie's beautiful. Chloe's beautiful. Chase is a little handsome boy. And Chase looks a hot mess. Chase looks terrible. And they were like, it's not a good look for him. Just say it. You don't think it looks good. Oh, let me say this. When Chase and Jodie went out to go to eat, didn't Chase say that he has stomach issues? But yet he ordered a coffee soda. Listen, listen, I know you think it's not a big deal, but to me, it's the little things. It's the little things. I know you're like, what does that got to do with anything? The fact that he is having digestive issues and eating crawfish and drinking coffee soda. First of all, if you're having digestive issues, coffee is the worst and soda is the worst. So he probably has an ulcer. And if he has an ulcer, caffeine's worse for it. And you have gallbladder issues. Yeah, he just whatever. Anyways, so Jodie talks about her observations of the family since she has been with Chase. And I gotta say this, Jodie, be careful. Be careful, because let me tell you something. If you get on Tom's bad side, it is very hard to get on his good side. So if I was Jodie, I would say, you know what? I think it's unfortunate what's happening with the family. I just hope they all get along. But you could tell that Jodie was leading Chase. Like, oh, so how do you feel about the interview? Yeah, the parents need to have a meeting. Like, Jodie, not too much. Support Chase and say, you know what? I know it must suck for you. I know you may feel upset. Maybe think about talking to your dad, think about talking to your mom. But be careful about giving your opinions on the family, because guess what? You ain't married yet. And if Todd don't like you, I have a feeling it's going to be very hard for you. Now, here's the thing. Because I feel like I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. So I'm already giving a disclaimer. Chase says that he has reached out to Savannah several times and not really gotten a response. And Savannah is like, look, if Todd wants to have a relationship with Chase because that's his son, that's fine, but I don't have to do it. And I'm actually in agreement with Savannah, because sometimes when you're dealing with a family member with addiction issues, you do have to set boundaries. Like, look, until you get yourself clean, I can't come around. And the reason why I said I'm going to contradict myself, because in an earlier episode, I did say, I think that Savannah needs to show Chase some grace, and Savannah needs to educate herself on the disease. But we also do educate family members who loved ones are dealing with addiction of setting boundaries. And sometimes the boundaries is you can't come around me until you're clean. So that's where I'm kind of contradicting myself, right? I do think Savannah has every right to set a boundary. But I also do think that Savannah is very harsh. And I think Savannah is very judgmental. I think if she set the boundary and she's like, you know what, I understand it's a disease. I understand that it's easier said than done. It's not a willpower thing. I understand that it's gonna take a couple helps for him to get better, but he can't come around me. But but she's not communicating that, right? It sounds like she's just not responding to him. So while I get that she's setting boundaries, I do feel like sometimes Savannah can be a little bit harsh, right? Okay, so this part broke my heart, y'all. And I kind of wondered, did something happen that we are not aware of? Because in the next scene, which seems totally random, in the next scene, Chase is checking himself. They're going on a private plane. It's Todd, Jodie, and Chase. and Chase is checking himself into a wellness center. So the reason why I feel like it's very random, because I'm like, did something happen? Did they find him on the floor with like what alcohol, like alcohol? It's usually when you have somebody check themselves into a rehab or a clinic, there's something that has triggered that. We went from one episode, he's meeting with Jodie, to all of a sudden, boom. And nobody explained, like, well, we called Chase, and Chase was slurring his words, and we did a wellness check, and we saw an empty bottle. Or, well, Jodie called us because Chase was just kept throwing up. Because when you look at Chase on the plane, oh my God, I cried. Like, Chase looks horrible. I wrote in all caps, Chase looks horrible. So knowing Todd, I feel like something happened, but they're just not telling us. It is rare where on a random Tuesday, Chase is just chilling, and then he's like, oh, I'm going to check myself into a wellness center. Something happened. We just don't know about it. Something triggered it. And you know what? If they don't want us to know, that's fine, because they are protecting him. It's fine. As long as he's getting the help, you know? So Chase feels scared. He says there's a lot of trauma that he's buried. And remember, I said in earlier episodes, there's other trauma that we don't know outside of his parents. And maybe that will be brought up in season 2. I don't know. Todd, here's where you pissed me off, because you made it about you. Yes, I understand that Kyle went through his addiction issues, but that was not the time to bring up Kyle. Shoot, that was not even the time to bring up your case. Like, oh, don't compare you going to rehab to what me and your mom did. That is not the time. That was selfish. That was self-centered, Todd. What you should have done is say, you know what, son, I'm so proud of you. He said it, but he should have just left it there. Because it's almost like he started getting into it, Chase, and that's the worst thing you can do. This is a very vulnerable time. The last thing that he needs is for you to get into it with him about all the other nonsense. Y'all can talk about that later. So it really irritated me when Tom was talking about, well, what have your sister's been through, and the whole Nick situation. That is not the time to unpack that on the way to the wellness center. He's supposed to be in a calm state, in a motivated state. But to say like, oh, don't let the government, it's not about the government. It's about, you know what, I'm so proud of you that you have made this decision to get help. That's all we're focusing on. That's it. So yeah, that made me mad. So it seems like a month or two later, Chase and Savannah agreed to have a conversation. Now this is the most forced conversation if I've ever seen it. Hi Savannah, how are you? Hi Chase. It seemed so awkward, so forced. But here's the thing. Savannah just doesn't want an apology. I'm proud of you. Savannah wants to be heard. Savannah wants to just get it out there like, hey, this was a lot for me. But because they're so used to Savannah being the strong one, Chase is saying everything that he thinks Savannah wants to hear. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry. Savannah's like, no, I just want to talk about it. Right? And Chase is like, well, I was not in the best place, and I'm so glad you were able to do this. Okay, yeah, that's all fine and well. But Savannah just wants to be heard and feel validated. And Chase also wants to feel validated, and that's okay. And in the beginning, I was getting frustrated with Savannah because Savannah was like, well, nobody did this, nobody did that. And Chase is like, almost like, well, what did you want me to do? I was not in the best place. Now, Savannah also said that Papa Hughes did not call her for her birthday. That was jacked up. Maybe that's that resentment that he has towards Savannah that we did not even get to explore, which I think the producers did a poor job. Producers, y'all need to call me. I'll be your consultant. Okay? I'll be your consultant. Y'all need to call me. Um, because yeah, we still don't know why he's resentful of her. We know why she's resentful of him, but the other way around, I don't understand. But Savannah says she's gonna live her life. She's in her new place, right? Like her job is done. And she tells Chase, "Oh, you have so much potential. I'm proud of you for getting help." And I honestly do think there is hope. The Chrisleys, Todd and Julie, they're gonna build a home. You know, Papa Hughes pissed me off because he's like, "Oh, we're just giving everybody time. We just gonna." That's a crock of bull s. You're just making up an excuse. Why can't you pick up the phone and call your son-in-law? What are you giving time for? But I will say this overall, I really, really, really like this show around. Now, do I like it better than Chrisley Knows Best? No, even though I know Chrisley Knows Best was scripted. I like the fun of Chrisley Knows Best, but they're in a different season. Todd is on a mission and a purpose and a crusade to get people home. Julie is trying to get reacclimated, restore some order in the home. Savannah got to go live her life, her best life, hopefully find a man. Chloe is going to get to be a preteen again and hopefully not be exposed to adult conversations, which really irritated me. Grayson is going to go to college and do his thing. Chase is going to clean himself up, get himself together. But there's so much potential for season 2. There's so much to unpack. First of all, Jodie needs to have a meeting with Todd and Julie and really get to know them. That's first. 2, Chase and Savannah need another conversation that don't feel forced, and this is an in-person conversation. 3, Julie's parents and Todd need to have a conversation about whatever's going on. They don't like Todd. They're pissed off at Todd, and they feel like it's Todd's fault that their daughter's in jail. Just say what it is, because they come up with all kinds of excuses. Okay, so they need to meet with Todd. There needs to be a family meeting, okay, with all the parties involved to say, okay, we've gone through some trauma. Let's just figure this thing out, right? So that's where I agree with Jodie there, right? Julie needs to have a conversation with her parents. Number one, her mom, about why she was not there for Chloe, because that's the one thing Julie said is stay close to the kids. Mama Pam, you did not do that, okay? Julie needs to have a conversation with her dad about how he enables Chase and not how to do that anymore, okay? Todd and Julie need to have a conversation with Savannah like, look, we love you. We are so happy you brought us home, but that first night we came home, all those people was there was just way too much. There's so many layers to this show. There's so many things that need to go on. There's so many conversations that I need to have that this leaves a potential for season 2, season 3, season 4. So listen, y'all, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for watching my review, my recap. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I am not biased towards anyone. I see all sides. And I'm going to review season 2. So I hope you come back for season 2. If you find me through the Chrisley Back to Reality show, I want to thank you. I have other really good content on there. I'm always about self-improvement, wellness, and motherhood. So if this is your jam, stick with me. If you're only here for the Chrisleys Back to Reality, still stick around because I need the subscriber count, because we're going to be back with season 2. And then maybe we might do a live review, yeah, we may do a live review for season 2. So thank you for hanging with me. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.